doing awesome. I love Dallas. My first seminar ever was in Dallas. It changed my life forever. And on this weekend, we have come to Dallas to anchor ourselves in the chiropractic principle. And we've come to Dallas to crystallize and to clarify our role in serving children around the world. And we've come to Dallas to honor the great Jim Sigafus, the greatest chiropractic philosopher of our time. And let's not also forget, we've lost two other greats since the last seminar. We must recognize Frank Savinsky, who, for his career and his lifetime, inspired chiropractors to be greater connectors and communicators, and Linda Rassel. For you females in the room, Linda Rassel inspired so many women to go on and do great things in chiropractic, including 3 of her own daughters, and they too now are gone. This planet and this profession are better because of Linda Rassel and Frank Savinsky and Jim Sigafus. As you learned yesterday from Dr. Ben, Jim Sigafus lost his very own son at 17 months old. And this inspired him to actually go on and create a business card, which I have spoken about before, which read, "Why he died. Someone told him chiropractic didn't work, and he believed it." And that card made reference to Sigafus' son who had passed away, and that card made reference to Sigafus' lack of trust for the principle of chiropractic. He was so bold, but so loving at the same time. And for that reason, he would go on to transform thousands, if not millions of people's lives. And all of this comes from a graduate of the godforsaken place of National College in Chicago. So don't you dare tell me you're an underdog. Don't you dare tell me that you don't have it. That you can't grasp it. That you didn't grow up the way Joel grew up, or the way I grew up, or the way these cute little children are growing up. Jim Sigafus went to his first seminar in the 1970s with no money, on someone else's dime, having already lost a child to the perils of medicine, and look what he went on to become. The fact that you are in this room right now gives you every opportunity to become a success beyond your wildest dreams. It is just your job to act. Woo! But back to National College and schools of the sort, I want to talk about the transition of leadership here at the Canadian Memorial Canadian Medical Chiropractic College in Toronto. We call it CMCC. You see, this is a school that does not recognize self-luxation. This is a school where in the campus clinic you may not use the term chiropractic adjustment because they consider to be there no such thing as an adjustment. This is a school where chiropractic philosophy would be included as a part of chiropractic history, but that's it. So when CMCC came along to appoint their new college president, they recruited the former vice president of National College of Chiropractic, where manipulation under anesthesia was spearheaded, who was also the former vice president of Western states where vaccinations have been given in the campus clinic. So I read a little chatter online, and one of the students was trying to sum up the deal with the new college president, and listen to what he wrote online. He said, "It looks like Dr. Wicks is part of the Institute of Functional Medicine, which consists of different practitioners, like MDs, DCs, and naturopaths, and seems to bring attention to environmental factors that affect health, like toxins, and nutrition, and exercise, and mental health, and perhaps the new president would focus a lot on prevention and health promotion." So in sizing up the former vice president of National College, this student wrote, "Sounds to me like he's got a lot in common with the people at Maximize Living." Now I'll tell you, Maximize Living has been confused with a lot of things, but I sure as hell won't let it get mixed up with CMCC or National College. No way. Because the one thing that this student is missing, which is the one thing that so many chiropractors are missing, is the intention of every little thing that we do from morning till night that's inserting patients. The difference, folks, is your intent. Because I know that many of you have been offered the business opportunity of selling essential oils. When this room starts smelling like lemongrass and peppermint, I will know that you bought right in. And I know that people will tell you, Kyle, they will tell you that this would fit perfectly in with your practice because of your philosophy. I'm not so sure. Woo. And how about some bulletproof coffee? Why don't you start serving some bulletproof coffee in your waiting room? All those antioxidants, mix them up with some coconut oil and some butter and churn them up and whip them down your yab while you're in a fasting state. Put your body into ketosis. It'll just burn and shed all the fat right off of you. Maybe BJ and Kim included in the new book. Or while you're talking about coffee, why don't I just talk about shooting it up the other end? Because it's all natural. Oh, it's all natural. And it's good for the liver. Right, it's all natural. I always thought that shooting coffee in my butthole was all natural. Because when these practices are done to treat the liver, or to force an outcome, or to modify, or to change a symptom in the body, yes, they may be natural, they may be organic, they may be holistic, they may be vitalistic, but listen, my friends, because natural does not mean principled. And I'm not saying that they're not done by good people, or that I would have even used some of them myself. And we could go on about swishing my mouth with coconut oil and jumping into a sauna and taking an amino acid to get rid of a virus. And these might all get great results, but getting great results does not mean that something is principled. If I had high cholesterol and I walk around with a whole whack of vitamins and supplements and herbal remedies for the purpose of forcing my cholesterol down, at a certain point, you have to ask yourself this: what's the difference between walking around with a bag full of vitamins instead of a bag full of drugs? Both are manufactured. One's just a little less processed. What's the difference between taking medical marijuana and OxyContin? One's a little closer to the earth and making fewer side effects. But folks, there's your argument for drugs, because everything comes from the earth at one point. You see, I think you'd be a fool to suggest that someone taking medical marijuana or an essential oil or a bag full of vitamins to do the exact same thing in their body as would a medication is living a lifestyle any closer to the chiropractic principle and philosophy than a person taking a drug in the first place. I know a lot of great people in natural health care. I know a lot of them, and they are smart, and they are sound and ethical and effective people. But words like ethical and holistic and organic and whole food and less processed, they don't mean principled any more than natural means principled. And I know that in this profession, words like principled and straight and mixer and innate and alternative care, I know they get thrown around, and I'm not so sure we ever take time to really dissect out what all this stuff even means. So let's do it. In 1911, in D.D. Palmer's manuscript, The Chiropractor, he stated emphatically 6 times that it was the moral and religious duty of the chiropractor to rack the spine for the purpose of uniting man the physical with man the spiritual. And D.D. defined our philosophy such that life is the spiritual nature of all man. And that when the physical being is denied the spiritual being, that one is sick. And that one's sickness is simply a degree along the continuum towards death. And D.D. also identified our philosophy. D.D. identified that in the allopathic world, you're considered to be a physical being who may have a spiritual experience. But in the chiropractic paradigm, you are a spiritual being having a physical experience. And D.D. then defined mixing to be simply the mixing of allopathic and chiropractic philosophies, which could not be done. He said it was like mixing oil and water. It couldn't be done. And then for 100 years we determined that if someone was to introduce an allopathic practice into their chiropractic practice, that therefore they were a mixer. But Didi always said that it came down to the philosophy. Because that principle is this, that there is a universal intelligence, which we call God, that is the provider of all things. And that there is a spirit in man, which is the innate intelligence, which is the connector, and which is the expression of life and healing forces within the body. You see, it is innate that expresses from above down and inside out. It is innate that does the healing. But innate should never, never, never be relegated only to a healing power only, when in fact innate is the great connector. For it is innate that is responsible for connecting all matter, and therefore responsible for your entire expression and persistence in life. Do you understand the difference? So therefore, I get a lot of questions, guys. People say to me, somebody drinks a Coke. Why is it that some people can drink a Coke and they not only don't get ill, but they actually thrive upon it? Well, you tell me. What connects the matter? Innate. People want to know, why is it that two people can follow two different diet plans and still get great results? Is it their genetics? Or maybe, someone might say, maybe it's epigenetics. Maybe it's something turning on the genes. You know, in chiropractic, I'm not so sure I care what turns on the genes. I'm concerned with the expression of the genes. And that alone is innate. And two patients get two very different adjustments. And they both end up with healthier spines. And two mortal chiropractors want to compare their techniques. I got news for y'all. It's not your external healing force that does the healing. It's the internal innate force that does the healing. When this becomes your philosophy, you need to start to decide for yourself, if this is what you believe, if this is the way that you view the world, what else could you possibly do to bring somebody back to a greater expression of life? Because there's physical therapy, there's acupuncture, there's needles, there's nutraceuticals, there's all this stuff that is being suggested in every possible state. But when you want to be connected, you have to be adjusted, period. And I know you've been here now, so this becomes your philosophy, and you have a patient in, and you give them an amazing adjustment, and it's like Atlas, boom! And they look up at you, and they say, that's it? Come on, who's had that happen to before? You're green booked out, you listen to your tapes, you get in there, boom, that's it? Let me tell you what I say. That is it! That's it! That's all you have to do. When I turn on the switch, there's nothing more I can do to the switch. I can't rub it, I can't massage it, I can't get it. The more I try to do to the switch, you might just shut the damn thing off. All you can do is let it be and let the healing flow. Because Clarence Gonstead said, find it, fix it, and leave it alone. But be prepared. Because we never said this is about making people feel good. In fact, sometimes when life is turned on, sometimes it's just that people actually feel for the very first time in their life. And sometimes that's not so pretty. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to now, someone feels funky because life is turned on, and you say, well, I think you're doing some retracing. Or you say, what did you do? What did you do after your adjustment? Did you lie on your back or did you lie on your side? Did you lie on your right side or did you lie on your left side? Oh, I know. Maybe the muscles are getting used. Maybe the muscles are getting used to the new position. Because you wouldn't want to just tell somebody that they had the power turned on. You wouldn't want to do that. You see.